It is 1 in the morning. You are tired. You have work tomorrow. You have, 3 times now, picked up your phone, told yourself just 10 more minutes, and quietly watched 30 disappear. You know this will cost you. And still, you stay. There is an entire population of people who do this almost every night. Not because they are bad at sleep, not because they do not care about tomorrow, but because somewhere inside, something very specific is happening. And according to psychologists, it has almost nothing to do with sleep hygiene and almost everything to do with grief. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear is not about being a night owl. It is the real reason you will not go to bed. Let us start with the thing people keep misdiagnosing. Psychologists have spent decades studying sleep timing. Chronotype research, led by researchers like the Munich chronobiologist Till Roenneberg, has shown that people really do have different natural body clocks. Some humans are genuinely built to be awake at night. Their melatonin rises later, their peak alertness shifts later, and forcing them into a 6 a.m. life is quietly brutal for their physiology. That is real, but it is not what is happening to most of the people who cannot put the phone down at 1 a.m. In 2014, a group of Dutch researchers led by Floor Kroese, publishing in Frontiers in Psychology, introduced a term for something quieter and much more common. They called it bedtime procrastination, the specific self-defeating behavior of choosing to stay awake even when you know you want to sleep, even when you have time to sleep, even when nothing is stopping you. Later work in Korean and Polish samples confirmed the finding across cultures. About half of adults report doing it regularly. Translation: you are probably not a night owl. You are probably a person who cannot quite let the day end. But here's where it gets interesting, because most people get the motive wrong. You know that feeling when you open the phone at 11 just to scroll for a minute and some part of your brain goes, do not stop. I need this. This is the only part of the day that is for me. That has a name too. Researchers now call it revenge bedtime procrastination, a phrase that started in Chinese internet culture around 2018 and quickly found its way into peer-reviewed papers. The revenge is not against sleep. It is against a day you did not get to run. The theory works like this. By evening, your self-control budget is spent. You have been saying yes to things you did not want to say yes to, no to things you wanted, polite to people who drained you, productive on tasks that were not yours. When the house finally goes quiet, the last free agent you have is bedtime, and you refuse to spend it even though you need to. The organizational psychologist Jana Kuhnel and her colleagues in a 2018 daily diary study in Frontiers in Psychology showed that bedtime procrastination predictably spikes on days with lower self-control resources and higher felt autonomy loss. Notice the pattern. You are not stealing time from tomorrow. You are trying to buy back a scrap of today. Now, where it might get a little uncomfortable because it is more personal than most people want to admit. A significant portion of the people who do this are not lazy, not addicted to their phones, not secretly up because they are living their best life. They are quietly dreading tomorrow, and staying up is the only way they have found to delay the dread. While the rest of the house is asleep, these people are internally narrating. If I go to sleep, tomorrow starts. If I stay up, tomorrow waits. And tomorrow always feels like a predator. Psychologists have a cleaner word for this: anticipatory dread. The nervous system, perceiving the next day as overwhelming, uses the only lever it has left, the transition into sleep, and refuses to pull it. It feels like choice. It feels like rebellion. It feels quietly like the one small freedom you have. But under the scroll, something more vulnerable is happening. You are grieving in advance the self you will have to become again the moment you wake up. Research on bedtime procrastination has consistently linked it to depressive symptoms, low work autonomy, and high perceived job demands. If that is you, here is the reframe. You do not have a sleep problem, you have a tomorrow problem. And tomorrow is not asking to be fixed tonight, it is just asking to not be run from. And let us talk about where this actually comes from, because it is bigger than any one person's phone. You can see exactly where it comes from. 100 years ago, a human day had natural bookends. Sunset was the end. Evening was soft, slow, low stimulation. Then the electric light arrived, then the television, then the smartphone, then the algorithm. Modern evenings are not wind downs. They are the brightest, most stimulating, most personalized part of many people's days. The only period where the feed offers content tuned precisely to your nervous system, with no colleagues, no children, no emails, no one watching your face. Research summarized across journals like Sleep Medicine Reviews and Frontiers in Neuroscience has consistently shown that the modern bedroom, with its blue light, notifications, and parasocial pull, has quietly become the most activating environment most people encounter all day. You were not raised to hate tomorrow. You were raised in a world that systematically outsourced your only real leisure window to the hours you were supposed to be sleeping. The insomnia was never the core problem. The daytime was, and there is a specific biological moment inside all of this that almost nobody names. Somewhere around 10 or 11 p.m., for many adults, something strange happens. You were tired at 8, you were half asleep at 9, and then, just as you should be falling into bed, you suddenly feel more alert. Your mind starts going. Your ideas feel sharper. Your energy inexplicably spikes. This is not in your head. It is a well-documented circadian phenomenon. Late evening, the body produces a small but real cortisol surge, sometimes called the forbidden zone or the second wind, that can push alertness back up for an hour or two. Sleep researchers, including Charles Chisler at Harvard, have documented this pattern across decades of chronobiology research. Evolutionarily, this second wind probably had a purpose. Finishing the last critical task of the day before the dark became dangerous. In modern life, it has been hijacked because the second wind arrives at exactly the moment your phone is offering its most personalized, most rewarding, most dopamine-rich content. Your biology wakes you up. Your environment feeds you stimulation. Your tired, autonomy-starved self reaches for it, and 2 hours quietly disappear. Notice the pattern. You are not lacking discipline. You are colliding with a biological surge that, in a more sensible environment, would have had a 90-minute window to resolve itself. In this environment, it has an infinite scroll. The window never closes, the day never ends, the biology never gets its off-ramp, and you, sensibly, pay for it tomorrow. There is a weird paradox at the core of this behavior. The people who bedtime procrastinate the hardest are often the most responsible, most overscheduled, most dutiful adults around them. The compliant employee, the patient parent, the friend who says yes, the one whose days are not really their own. Staying up for them is not rebellion. It is the one unstructured hour where they get to remember they are a person. Take that hour away and something goes quiet. This is not a flaw in the mind. It is just a particular architecture, one that is, frankly, better suited to stealing moments of self than to asking for them. Better suited to guilt at 2 a.m. than to boundary setting at 10. Better suited to the quiet win of a phone in the dark than to the harder win of a day that actually has room in it. So what does all this actually mean? If you are the one still awake at 1 a.m. with a phone you are no longer really watching, you are not broken. You are not bad at adulthood. You are a nervous system that has been asked to give away too much of the day and is trying quietly to take a little back. The phone is not the problem. The phone is a delay room. The next time you catch yourself staying up past a point that serves you and you start shaming yourself for it, try a different question. What part of today did I not get to live? Because the answer to that is where the real sleep begins. Not in a better app blocker, not in a better mattress. In a day that finally has a piece of itself in it, before the day is over. The night was never the thief. The day was, and you are allowed to want it back. If this resonated with you, please subscribe. And if you want to support these deep dives, consider hitting that join button to become a channel member. I would genuinely appreciate it.